Oh, it's you. Come on in. Welcome to the Scumm Bar.
Ha Good start. Ooh.
Welcome to the Scumm Bar Podcast, where we talk movies, video games, pop culture,
Melodicas.
melodicas, and everything in between. I am your host, Mattbrush.
Keanu Reeves
And
is
with
back.
me today is my special, very, very special co-host. He comes out of, this guy comes out of Texas. He came striding in here on his horse. His name is...
Anth0z.
Anth0z. Hello, Anth0z, and welcome to the Scumm Bar Podcast, where we talk about everything, every single thing.
Thanks, Keanu.
How are you doing today?
I'm warm.
Warm?
I'm warm.
Warm?
I'm quite warm.
Are you quite warm? Do you have water?
Quite warm.
Do you have water for
I
yourself?
do, yes.
Good.
And it's cold.
Oh, good. That's good.
It's actually room temperature. No, it's room temperature now. So it's... Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm goo. I am so
Good.
goo. You would have no idea I'm so goo. Life is goo.
Oh,
Life
that's
is
good.
real goo. Anth0z, would you like to hear a joke?
Yeah.
Would you like to hear a joke?
Dog, give me the joke, please.
Da. What shivers at the bottom of the sea? What shivers at the bottom of the sea?
My timbers. The timberfish.
A nervous wreck.
Aha! I like it.
Oh, Macarena.
I like that one. That was cute.
Not bad. I know. They're getting better each and every single episode. Remember that, listener. Every single time you listen to an episode, that pirate joke's going to get better and better and better.
Thank you.
Anth0z. It is a special time of the episode right now where we'd like to go into ye old news.
News.
Do you have any news on the Dr. Talk It?
Yeah, I got a couple things.
Ooh, let's see what you got.
So it's a little bit old now, but they,
Hey, who's they?
and when I say
Tell me
they,
who
I
are.
mean they.
Who
You
is
know,
your
you know,
master?
those people. They have casted Halle Bailey as the Little Mermaid.
I saw this as the Little Mermaid.
Yeah, the
Yes.
Loidal Moimoid.
The Moidal? the
Loidal-
Mermaid. Look at the girl, the Moidal Mermaid.
The little Metroid.
That little mermaid.
The little
she-
Metroid Prime.
The little Metroid that could. She,
Yeah.
she doesn't really look like the Disney one, does she? Why?
It's because her hair's not red.
Yeah, it's just a little weird, you know?
She also
Just a
doesn't
little
have fins.
Little
I don't
Mermaid-
think, honestly, I don't think many mermaids came out for the casting, so it's really difficult
They
for
had
them to
one
find the
that looked
exact.
the most like a mermaid.
Yes,
Just pick
So,
that one. Do you have a fin tail?
a fin tail.
A fin tail. Isn't that what it's called? A tail fin?
I guess when you said fin tail, I was thinking like a story about Finn,
Fins?
the actor from Stranger Things,
Oh gosh.
which we talked about last.
Gosh. That's old
But,
news, buddy boys.
Yeah.
Old news.
So I don't really know who she is. I think she's a singer.
I don't know
Or
her
something?
either. No, she doesn't look like Ariel to me. I was kind of looking for a white girl with red hair, to be honest. But
With purple clam bikinis.
does she have a purple clam bikini?
You mean-
is that what she has?
Ariel?
Ariel the mermaid. I just
Yeah,
typed in
isn't it-
Ariel the mermaid. I probably didn't need to. Wow, she
Are they-
does. Interesting. I didn't expect that. To be honest, I don't know what I thought she had.
And her tail fin is green.
It is green. Yep,
Yeah.
correct. Hey,
Yeah.
fun fact: her little friend, the fish. What color is the fish?
Yellow and blue.
Whoa, you know your Little Mermaid. Wow.
Flounder. Is that his name?
Oh, geez. You know what? You're one-upping me all over the place.
All I can think of the name of Sebastian the Crab. The seaweed is always greener.
Down on the ocean floor. My Jamaican sounds Russian, apparently. I will break you. I'm seeing a little photo here, and I was like, oh, you know what? She actually doesn't look that bad as the mermaid. And then I realized it was actually that chick from Spider-Man, Zendaya, or whatever.
Oh,
she was apparently
Zendaya, yeah.
She was apparently offered the role. She actually looked a bit like Ariel. She would have worked.
Like
in the photo I'm looking at, she looked like Ariel. So.
Oh, did she have her hair red or something?
No. It's just that the facial structure, weirdly enough, it's very animated, and she has that big smile, and like her eyes are big. It actually just looked very Disney. I could have seen that working.
You know, that'd be interesting if she were to actually play both Mary J and Ariel, because she's playing two redheaded characters and she doesn't have red hair. Yeah,
is she
that'd be
redheaded
interesting.
in Spider-Man? Spider-Man.
No, I think she's brunette.
Well, that's awful. Why didn't they make MJ redhead?
Well, they didn't do anything the way that have we talked about this? Like none of the characters.
We hate you now.
I don't like Flash Thompson, although I still haven't seen.
I agree with that. As much as I like Spider-Man, I don't like the universe he's in, and I haven't seen the new one. But it's just like, yeah, you're right. Flash is not Flash, and MJ's not MJ. Like, he doesn't have a best friend that he hangs out with all the time. But somehow, watching that movie, it all kind of works. So I'm okay with it, and I like Tom Holland a lot. He seems to pop on screen, so he's good.
Yeah, I think it's probably just because of like the ages of all the characters. Like they're like even though they're in high school, they seem on the younger side of high school. So when I'm thinking back to like the 90s animated Spider-Man, like Flash Thompson was like a big jock, and he was like a big jock.
I know.
And nowadays, like, I don't know, I guess you wouldn't see that kind of dynamic as much.
We did have this conversation. Yeah, we definitely had this conversation before. I remember this.
Cool. We should stop now then and move on to the next old news topic.
Number 2. What do you got on the docket target?
I thought this was cool. So Super Mario Maker 2, people have been posting.
Oh, I've seen some videos on this. Yes, this looks cool.
Yeah. Did you see one about they made the Deku Tree?
No.
Like from Legend of
cool.
Zelda?
Wow.
Oh, it's so cool.
There's a lot of animated effects now available to the people doing Super Mario Maker. So they can do really interesting story things.
Yeah.
Like I saw one where Mario goes to hell, and every time you squash a Goomba, the Goomba goes to heaven. So this weird aura effect comes down and actually sends the Goomba up. It's really
that's
weird.
cool.
And at the very end of the level, you're forced to kill a Goomba. So at the very end, when you hit the flag, it normally shows Mario walking, and it does... And it like does like the thumbs up thing, or whatever he does. And when he's walking, he walks onto a treadmill, and since you've killed somebody, the treadmill sends him back into hell, and he ends up going back down when the story ends.
Wow!
So it was really well done, and I was like, "That's crazy!" Like, but yeah, Super Mario Maker 2, awesome, very cool.
Yeah. So I just saw it just briefly, but I think I feel like the actual deck. No, I don't think it was all of the same music, but probably some of the music from Legend of Zelda. I like it when people are able to do that, like create a world.
Within a world?
Create but create something that's already existing, and put it into some other game. You know, it's funny because we were talking about doing like a Mario and Zelda mashup.
Yes,
a little while back, right? And now somebody's done that, right?
Which you could totally watch.
Yeah, crossover, boss over, or something.
Boss over, yeah.
No, what did we call? No, crossover, cross-bover. That's right. Yeah. So it was cool watching that. Like I like, what is it that I like to see people find alternatives, like based on the already existing universe.
Yeah.
To match like what you're trying to create, right? So, what are some examples?
Well, one that I want to make actually is I play Minecraft quite a bit with my girlfriend, and I have this weird dream of remaking E1M1 from Doom. It's the first level of the first Doom game. It's my favorite level. Most people love it because of the music, and it's like their first experience with Doom. And I want to remake that whole level in Minecraft, and I think it's actually pretty easy. In Minecraft, you have a crossbow. You can just use that as your gun, and just kind of make spawners or something, I guess, for the enemies. And just kind of remap it out. I just think that'd be a lot of fun. So for me, that'd be making a game within a game. So I'd really want to do that.
Cool. Do it.
I will. I'm going to do it now because you said that.
Good. You do it. My other news is more about like personal news, but do you have any news items?
Personal. Oh my gosh. So
sad.
I'll
be a little personal.
No, go ahead. You know what? You tell me your personal news. I want to hear it now. I'm really intrigued.
Okay. So I entered a contest at the library.
What?
And I won.
What?
Yeah. So what you have to do is you have to buy. Well, you don't have to buy a book bag, but it was a $4 like one of those reusable bags from the library.
Oh yeah.
I think you could do the contest without it, but I like the bag anyway. So I can show you the bag itself. You know, like when you check out books in the library, there's that slot where you have to stamp the due date and stuff like that.
Yep.
Right. So I don't know if you can see, but so yeah, in this there's dates, and then the names are actually the different branches of the libraries in Richmond.
Ooh.
So what I did was so the requirements for to win or to enter the contest was you just have to take a picture using the bag in some way, in like a creative way, send it in, and then they would just pick a winner based on different age groups. So I won for the adult category. So what I did was I went to each of the library branches listed on that bag. So there's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 of them. I went to each of those branches and I took out a book that was published in the year that's dated next to that branch. So for example, like the top one says 1993 Brighouse.
Yeah.
So I went to the Brighouse branch and I borrowed a book that was published in 1993. And then I took a picture basically at each of these branches, taking a picture with the book I was checking out based on that publishing date. So it was a fun little project. Like I like when my creative juices are actually flowing. They don't often flow that much. So when it did for this, it was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, like I wouldn't have been too upset if I didn't win, because like I did put effort into doing this. Like I drove around to all these different places, did some research on books that I'm excited to actually read. So then I found out I won. What I thought was really cool was one of the books I got. So the winning prize is that they gave me I got 4 books for free. And also $2 credit for 3D printing. So that's kind of cool. I like to use the 3D printer there. So I'll just mention one of the books that I got. I'll mention 2. One is by Trevor Noah, Born a Crime. Okay. So I'm interested in reading that. The other one is a book that you recommended to me a while back.
Really?
And I was going to listen to it as a podcast, but then it was hard for me to get into.
Ooh, is it The Martian?
No, but you're kind of in the same spectrum-ish.
I can't think of it.
Okay, so you recommended that I listen to this podcast by Neil deGrasse Tyson because I was interested in learning a little bit more about astrophysics.
Oh,
so you recommended Astrophysics for People in a Hurry.
Right, yes.
And
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So when I was listening to it, like I would try to listen to it while I'm driving, which is like, that was really difficult because it's a heavy topic. I can listen to
working, and that did not work out, so.
So like when I'm driving, like I can listen to, like right now I'm listening to a podcast, or not podcast, I'm listening to an audiobook of 1984 by George Orwell.
Perfect. I love that book. I'm so glad you're listening to that. Okay, when you're done, promise me you'll make a topic on that, because I would love to talk about that book and I would love to hear your opinion on it.
Okay, cool. I actually listened to the audiobook of Animal Farm just before this one.
Oh, good. I haven't actually heard Animal Farm yet or read it yet, so I would like to.
Yeah, I just wanted to go over some books that I had, semi-read when I was in elementary and high school, but like obviously didn't really care that much about them. And now like I kind of regret not remembering what they were about. So that's why I wanted to go through the audiobooks, and I also borrowed some other books that were from the past anyway. But
remember
I just thought that was really cool.
Remember episode 29, because that's the episode that we became a podcast about video games, movies, comic books, TV shows, pop culture, and books.
Yes, because that wasn't already in between everything. But yes,
it wasn't in between, and now it is in between the meaty, the everything that we've gotten there, and now it's in there. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
So starting episode 30, you're going to be putting that into the intro.
Yeah, you know what? I'm changing it right now.
Cool.
You can hear the clickety clack of me changing it right now as we talk.
Cool. Well, while you're clickety-clacketing, I'll just say that when I was listening to the audiobook of that, it was difficult to actually listen to it. And so my resulting, just whatever, like my decision was that I would wait until I had some time to actually get the book and then read it, because I figured it'd be much better for me to digest it that way. So lo and behold, I get the book. So I'm really happy about how that worked out.
That's awesome. I'm glad. And you know what? As a long-time audiobook listener, I'm seeing a lot of moments where I'm appreciating reading the physical copy as maybe not as well, but instead of the audiobook. There are lots of moments where you will get more out of a book if you read it physically than if you listen to it with audio. And there's other moments where you get more out of a book audio-wise than you do physical-wise. I don't know what it is. I couldn't even begin to explain it, but I just know that I enjoy it as an audiobook. And I enjoy the Wilbur Smith novels that I read physically. I don't know what it is, but I pick and choose the ones I want. And some work better as others, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think I've mentioned it before, but Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman is one of my favorite audiobooks. It's the first one that I got on Audible. We're not even sponsored by Audible, but I'm talking about it. And Neil Gaiman narrates the whole book himself. And in some weird way, that makes it better for me. So that's an example of me liking the audiobook better than the physical book, just because I love it. It's like he's so excited to tell you his story, and the way he pronounces the words, which are all Norse words, which are hard to pronounce anyways, it's just so good. I love it. Very well done. And if you like Marvel at all, and you like Thor's storyline, then you'll probably really get into Norse mythology.
Okay, I just typed that out, so...
That's a good audiobook. I recommend it for sure. Just listen to the sample on Audible and see if you're into it, but it's really good.
Cool. Thank you.
That's easy to listen to. That's not even a slog at all. You can put that on any day and you'd be interested. Okay, moving on. Let's get into the topics. Topic number 1. I'm going to take over the topic here because I've got it fresh in my mind and I'd like to just go into it. I'm just going to jump into it, okay?
Okay, you jump.
I'm going to jump. I'm also going to go a little bit fast on this topic because I don't think this topic needs much time, but I'm going to need notepad, so I'm bringing it out right now.
Okay.
Okay, my topic is actually about Dan Harmon. I don't know if you know Dan Harmon, but he created the show Community as well as Rick and Morty. He's a creative mind kind of guy. He's done a lot of work other than that, but those are the two things he's most famous for.
Okay.
He has a writing formula that has gotten pretty famous now. And you can find this formula on channel101.fandom.com, channel101.fandom.com. That's like his wiki where he talks about writing. And it's really famous, and people talk about this new method of writing. Or it's not a new method, but it's kind of just laid out in a better way. So it's a writing method. And I'm gonna share my screen with you so you can see it a little bit better, but I'll explain it to the audience as well. But it's a circle graph that explains kind of... that's the wrong one. That time, that was the wrong one. It's a circle graph that kind of explains different portions to a story. And what I'm going to do with you here on the podcast in this topic is you're going to write a story. So you're going to write a story here, and it's going to be really quick. And I'll show you how easy this is.
Okay.
So here we go. We're going to write a story. So there are 8 parts to our story, and it's going to be really simplistic here. It's going to be really easy to do. So I'll show you this. There we go. 8 parts. Okay. So part number 1 to the story. In the words of Dan Harmon, what we have to do in the first part of a story is we have to create a character in a zone of comfort. So in simple terms, he likes to call this portion of the story you. So he's saying in the first portion, we have to create a thing. What is our thing? So if you want to make a story right now, I'm not going to ask you what is your story. What I'm going to ask you is, who is your story? Like, who is the person in your story? So just off the top of your head, give me something. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be a man, doesn't have to be a woman, doesn't have to be an animal, or like, it could be whatever you want it to be. It could be a cloud. It could be a paperclip. It could be a person. It could be a dog. Anything you want. So I'm just giving
you one. Like, I'm giving you a character.
Person, and then give me something maybe that they're doing at that time.
Okay. Teenage boy reading comics in his bedroom.
Okay. So we got a teenage boy reading
a teenage
boy. Oh yeah, a teenage boy reading
That's
comics
fine. I like
in his bedroom. Oh gosh. Okay. So we've got a teenage boy reading comics in his bedroom. So that's number 1 of our story. So you can just picture the story starting that way. No, I don't have to say that. I automatically click Control S on everywhere I go on the computer. It's kind of annoying.
Signs of a developer.
Exactly. You Control S everywhere. Like I'm in a browser and I press Control S. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so 2. Second portion to the story. We're transitioning now in our graph. Second portion of the story, but they want something. So this is the portion that Dan Harmon likes to say need. So in this portion, the person wants something. What does this teenage boy reading comics in his bedroom want? What does he want?
A peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay, he wants a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Butter and jelly sandwich. So he's in a zone of comfort, which is reading comics in his bedroom, but he's hungry. So he wants a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? That makes sense. Okay. We've got a bit of a story going already. Let's go to our third portion. This is a portion here that Dan Harmon likes to call go. And this is, they enter an unfamiliar situation. This is usually the part in a hero's journey where the person starts to adapt or go into a place where they don't understand where they are. So they enter an unfamiliar situation. The keyword is unfamiliar. So what happens to this boy here in the third portion? Something unfamiliar happens to him.
He walks downstairs and his parents are like verbally fighting.
Okay. Ooh, man, you're gonna get deep here. Walks downstairs to see his parents fighting. Now this is unfamiliar, so he hasn't seen this before, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. He walks downstairs to see his parents fighting. Section 4 is adapt to it, which he likes to call search. So section 4 is adapt to it. So now the main character has to adapt to the situation. How does he adapt to his parents fighting, which is an unfamiliar situation?
What the? Could he ask them what's like adapt to it?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I can only picture like him walking into the room and then asking them like why they're fighting. But I don't know.
Yeah,
Is that a
no? That totally works. The boy asks, "Why are they fighting?" So the unfamiliar thing is that they are fighting. He's adapting to the situation by asking them, "Why are you fighting?" Okay.
Okay.
Gonna get to the next one. Gets what they wanted. This is section 5. It's called find. They get what they wanted. So he gets apparently his peanut butter sandwich. That's what he wanted. So how does he get his peanut butter sandwich out of this situation? He asks, "Why are they fighting?" What happens?
What? This sounds like so. I'd have to describe the whole thing.
No, you don't have to describe the whole thing, but I mean, okay, so in my mind, the mom would be like, "Oh, it's nothing. Let me make you a sandwich or something," right? Like, or let me make you some food.
Okay, sure.
That's what's in my mind, but no, you go ahead. Whatever you want.
Oh, there's already one on the table where, like, next to the parents that are fighting.
Oh, sees a sandwich on the table. Okay, sees a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on the table and goes for it.
Did you type sandwich? Okay, I thought you typed S-A-M, like M for Mario.
Sandwich.
I wish you did.
Okay.
Sandwich.
So he sees a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on the table and goes for it. Now, number 6, pays a heavy price for it. This is called take. So he pays a heavy price for getting the sandwich. What happens to him for getting the sandwich?
I guess dad starts yelling at him now for taking his sandwich.
Yeah, and we don't have to get into specifics. We just know that the dad is now yelling at him. So dad starts yelling at him for taking it. So we know the dad is yelling at him, right? Now we get to section 7. I remember there's 8 parts, so we're almost at the end. Section 7. Then return to their familiar situation. This is called return. So he's returning back to his familiar situation. So I'm assuming he goes upstairs back to his bedroom?
Back to his bedroom, yeah, okay.
Maybe he's grounded. So parents ground him, maybe? Or what do you think?
Let's see, return. He runs.
Okay.
He runs away, runs to his bedroom.
Away back to his room. Okay, and then the last part is having changed. So this is change, the section of change. So he's back in the familiar situation, having changed. What does he think now? Now he's maybe more concerned about his parents instead of the sandwich.
Yeah, he doesn't care about comics. Like, it's such a trivial thing.
Care about the comics. He is interested in his parents? Thinking about that?
Yeah. How about doesn't care about the comics or the sandwich?
Comics or the sandwich. Ooh. Cares about his parents. So as you can see, we now have a story here. We don't know the specifics. We haven't wrote character names. We don't have any dialogue. And yet we actually have a compelling story, and we wrote this in 2 seconds. Like, all you did, teenage boy reading comics in his bedroom. He wants a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So he goes downstairs, and he sees his parents fighting suddenly. He doesn't know what's going on, but he asks, why are they fighting? When his parents don't really know what to say, he notices on the table next to them, there's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So he goes for it, and before he can get to it, his dad starts yelling at him because, well, he doesn't really know why. So then he runs away from his parents and goes back up to his room. Suddenly, he doesn't care about his comics or anything anymore. He just wants to know why his parents are fighting. You've made a compelling story. Isn't that insane?
Whoa, I want to see this actually happen now.
I know. It's crazy.
What the?
So I'm really interested in this stuff right now.
Cool.
And I love it. And so doing video game development, I keep looking into this. I'm constantly trying to ask myself, how can I get these characters into interesting situations? So what I do is I write a bit of a story, nothing too big, and then I go through this scenario and I go, can I slot it into these 8 plot points and make the character go through a journey? So you can pretty much apply this logic to anything in TV or in movies, and you're going to find a good, compelling story out of it. And if it doesn't fit this, it usually doesn't fit a good story. Now, this isn't always true, obviously. It's not always true, but this is a pretty good way to write. And it'll almost always work out for you. So it's kind of funny. So
that is really cool. Actually, wait, before you do anything, I just want to mention, so with number 8, because you didn't use any punctuation, it makes the sentence look like way more funny. Doesn't care about the comics or the sandwich, cares about his parents.
Yeah, I'm writing in like developer note form right now.
Yeah.
That's like the meat of it. But yeah, no. So anyways, that's mainly what my topic is. I just kind of wanted to bring this up because that's where my head's been at lately, and I've been really, really enjoying it. So, so I did this with my girlfriend, and she wrote a story. Now I can't remember everything about the story, but I know that it started a character in a zone of comfort. It was a tree. I think it was just a tree on a hill. That was her character, right? And they wanted something. It wanted a friend, right? And enter an unfamiliar situation. A boy came up out of nowhere. And was playing with a ball. The tree adapted to it. I think it like bounced the ball back with the boy or something, right?
Cool.
And then it gets what they wanted, right? It got a friend. But it pays a heavy price for it. The boy died. I can't remember how, but the boy died. And then that
went dark.
Then the tree returned to its familiar situation. It was alone again. But it having changed, it remembers now, or knows at least what a friend is like. So it was like so deep, you know? And it was so funny because she was laughing as she was like writing this, and it worked so well. I was like, wow, you've made a Pixar movie now. Like, so,
I already feel sad.
I know.
Holy.
So I recommend that to anybody. Just, again, that's channel101.fandom.com. It lays it out in way more detail than I've done right here. I've probably done it a huge injustice by just splurting it all out. But maybe I've shown you the effectiveness of it, and you can do the research yourself if you're interested. So I really liked it, and I just wanted to make that my topic for an episode. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
What?
Just writing some notes down. Cool. Well, actually, I'm writing some hashtag stuff just based on what we just talked about. So that was cool.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on, let's move into something that I like to call the Wheel of Scum.
Scum, 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 scum.
We don't have a theme song. Wheel of Scum. So
but we do have a theme song. Well, I guess not really. We have a background. We have a background song during the description of the Wheel of Scum.
Oh, you're right. Anth0z, without further ado, actually, hold on, don't do it yet.
Okay.
I'm never ready.
Good thing this is going to be edited out. Haha.
Aha! I know, with my special editing skills, you'll see this moment
never
later on. Right?
Aha.
I hope so. That's going to sound real cool to the audience. They're going to love that.
I mean, really,
editing Matt wouldn't leave it in for the embarrassing moment, would he?
Could talk like this, and with your editing, it would be
Anth0z,
seamless.
The music, please. On the Wheel of Scum, we've got 6 options that the wheel could land on. Number 1 would be Pirate Adventure. Number 2 would be Shakespeare in APR. Number 3 would be Crossover Crossover. Number 4 would be A Haunting Tale of Woe. Number 5 would be Who Wants to Be Scum Millionaire? Number 6 would be Swashbuckler. And Anth0z, without further ado, please spin that wheel.
And click.
It's going. The wheel is going. I can't tell you how much this wheel is going. It's just going. And click, click, clickety, clacketing all the way to see what's happening. There it goes.
It's going.
It's still clacking.
It's
almost
going.
there. It's almost there. It's going to land on Swashbuckler. I think it's it's on Swashbuckler.
Oh, no. I suck at this.
Last time we played Swashbuckler, I owned Anth0z because he couldn't come up with one game that started with A, I think.
Yep, that's right.
Now it's time for Anth0z to show his true pirate skills. So let me read this out.
Oh boy.
Swashbuckler, it's time to show your true pirate skills. Mattbrush and Anth0z will sword fight to the death with wit. Roll the dice. Whichever number you land on is the category. Each fighter must say a word from the category that begins with the letter at the end of the last word said. So, the categories are countries, celebrities, animals, movie titles, video game titles, and fictional characters. Now, video game titles is Ixnade because we did it last time. So, Anth0z, would you please roll the dice 1 to 6, and we can see which category we land on.
Oh wait, I'm doing this one, aren't I?
Yeah,
2.
Oh, you got a 2. That is
I got a 2.
celebrities. You're gonna own me at this. Celebrities. Here we go.
We'll see.
Anth0z. I'm gonna start because I'm the handicap here. So here we go. I'm gonna start. Olivia Newton-John.
So, wait, N?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I feel like I'm not gonna. Okay, I can't do it. It's because I have my headphones on.
I'm gonna get a timer.
Yeah, get your timer. Naomi Scott. Wait, should I wait until you're?
Yeah, wait. It's not fair to you. Did I share the right one? I shared the right one.
Yep. Oh, I'm gonna have to look at the timer.
Is this a minute?
More pressure.
Yeah, it's a minute. Okay. Okay, you go ahead. Say your name.
Okay. Naomi Scott.
T. Naomi Scott. T. Terrence Malick? Is that a person?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Let me do a different one. I don't know if that's a person. T. 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 Terry Fox is not a celebrity.
What? I would count him as a celebrity.
Fox. I'm gonna do Terry Fox because I'm scared. So Terry Fox.
Oh shoot, X. Oh, I shouldn't have given you that one. Oh, I'm not gonna get an X.
Oh, is that even possible?
I know a character. I'm sure there's like a Xander or like Xavier. Oh man. X. I'm not gonna get an X. I swear to you, I won't get an X.
I'm not seeing much. It looks really unfair. So I'm gonna give you a different one. Let me see if Terrence Malick was somebody, because for some reason that name's coming to my mind.
Okay.
Who's Terrence Malick?
Is there like an Xavier?
Terrence
There must
Malick
be.
is an American film director. Okay, so he was a director. Terrence Malick. It's ending with a K. I don't know what he's directed, but he directed something that I knew. Oh, it was probably The Tree of Life, because I knew that movie for a while.
Oh, I haven't even seen that.
It's bad.
Okay.
Don't watch it. Okay, so Terrence Malick. So your letter is actually K. So I lied to you.
Okay. Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. Okay. Hart T. Oh no! Teddy Roosevelt. That's not a celebrity. Ted Danson.
With N?
Yep.
Nora Jones.
Nora Jones. Okay.
Singer, right?
Yeah, that sounds familiar. S.
Should I double check?
Shia LaBeouf. You're fine.
Ooh. F. Frank Sinatra.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm gonna set this to 30 seconds now because we're getting good at this.
Okay.
I promise you, I'm not thinking. Okay, Frank Sinatra. That ends in an A. Aaron. There's gotta be an Aaron out there. Aaron. Yep. God, isn't the guy who plays Jesse on Breaking Bad named Aaron something?
Ooh.
Maybe not. Aaron, Angelina Jolie.
Okay. E. Edward Norton.
Ooh, wow, good job. Norton. N.
Norton.
N. Ned. Now Ned Stark. No,
you're in my territory.
No. Naomi Watts.
Oh yeah, Naomi Watts. Sure.
No, I hit the timer. It's ringing in my ears. I lost that.
Oh, I can't even hear it.
I'm overboard. Oh. I just got splashed overboard. That's what just happened.
How
does it feel?
It feels okay. I feel like, yeah, it's just like the pressure of doing this. Like,
I was watching the timer. That was the issue.
Oh, yeah. I had my eyes closed. I didn't want to look at it. It was going to make it so much more difficult for me.
Oh, I had it too, but not really. Okay.
Good work, Captain Duck.
Done cool. Topic number 2. Go ahead, Anth0z.
Topic number 2. So, this relates to one of the news items I mentioned in last episode and how I talked about going to Ace Comic Con. So, do you remember me mentioning that? So Don Cheadle Jeremy Renner, and Chris Evans were there, and so they were doing the panel. I think it was like an hour or so, but basically they were there getting interviewed by I forgot what company.
Interesting.
I forgot what company
name.
she's from, but yeah. So gave this interview, and hey Bombay. And yeah, so I mentioned that. Pretty sure they all had a little bit to drink beforehand.
Chris Evans was blasted. You said.
Chris, yeah, he actually said during the interview. So okay, I'll give it a little bit more context. So, so they come on stage. Don Cheadle's probably more on like the subdued side. Jeremy Renner, he's got like a good amount of energy. You know, he's kind of like going back and forth, interacting between Don and Chris, being pretty like touchy and stuff like that, and making a lot of like inside jokes. Actually, he started making references to Chris, like right from the beginning, and saying Chris got upset because he thought we were in line for hot dogs, and so he kept saying like, oh, Chris is still waiting for his hot dog, like throughout like the whole time we were there. But I think for the moment that he mentioned it, I was like, oh, is Chris wanting a hot dog because he's drunk and he thinks he's actually waiting to get a hot dog? So I actually thought that before this whole thing started, and I didn't know. You mentioned last week that he apparently has a drinking problem, but I didn't know that.
I don't know if that's fact or not, but I've just seen it floating around on the internet with tabloids and stuff that he has a drinking problem. But I think most celebrities have some sort of abuse problem.
Right. So anyway, it was pretty evident from the beginning. Like he had his hat down, like covering his eyes, and he was trying to be like really still, and he wasn't interacting much at all. And then it was progressively like he was getting like more and more and more, like way more like animated, but you can tell his speech was really slurred and
was he
drinking a lot of things.
While you were watching him?
No. It was beforehand.
Oh, I see.
I thought it was funny and interesting that like at one point, like, so he started answering somebody's question, and then he, I think at some point they said shit, like, which wasn't like the biggest deal, right? But then later on,
sir, we're gonna have to bleep that out on this podcast. That's a brutal thing to say without telling me.
All right, well, this next word is just a little bit more colorful. So he did say, okay, you know when they're saying it's like in the middle of trying to just think of the next part they want to say.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people will substitute for like effing, like effing this, and like, so at one point Chris was like, oh, like effing, and so he said that, like, and he's on the microphone, and as soon as he said that, he looked towards like the audience, and he's like, he realized that he made a mistake, and then Don and Jeremy were like Don was probably the most like, oh, you just, like, he reacted as if like, ooh, oh, you just said this like live in front of everybody,
right? And
he was trying to like make it a little bit more like lighthearted. Like he started walking towards the edge of the stage, and he's like, there's a kid, there are children right here, and he's just like trying to bring it back to like, okay, let's get away from that. Right,
this is falling under the never meet your heroes category. This is a little bit sad, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is part of my topic as well anyway, but I just wanted to paint the rest of the picture. But yeah, so then they so Don and Jeremy, they got up and they walked out. They walked to like behind the screen that was like on the stage. So they walked behind it, you couldn't see them.
Right.
But I think they did that just for like comedic effect. And then the interviewer was like, all right, everybody, we gotta like cheer them on just to get them back. And so we did. They came back on. But in the middle of that, Chris was like his head was down. You can hear he's kind of saying it like chuckling or with a smile, like I'm sorry, I'm piss drunk. I'm like, okay, well, obviously. So anyway, that was just my image of Chris, just like for that whole day, for like the rest of that day. And like, I understand, in like a setting like that, maybe you want to have a drink just to kind of loosen up because you're going to be in front of like a whole ton of people you don't know. They're going to be asking you questions, and you want to feel a little bit more like yourself or a little bit more comfortable or something. But I don't know. For me, that was a bit like, to be drunk for me was like, for me, that's like unprofessional, just because even though you're not on set, you're not filming, you're still there representing the character. Like, he was representing Captain America, and he's representing Marvel because, everybody's there to see him because of him as that role. So, yeah, like I I hate to say it, but like I lost a little bit of respect for him just because of
I don't blame you at all.
just because of that experience. So anyway, going into my actual, I guess like the question or my topic, the way I want to pose it, but how much of the actor or actress do you think affects the image of the character that they portrayed? And what do you think about the professionalism that they should be holding on and off screen, when they're actually acting as a character or when they have time to be themselves? And then also, how does that relate to the actor and like, what if the actor embodying that character? So there's a few things in there, but
Right.
yeah, I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
I really agree with you. I mean, I don't think there's an issue with drinking necessarily. If you're going to be presenting yourself professionally in front of people, I do think there's an issue with drinking if you're going to get drunk. So
Yeah.
if you have one beer and that makes you drunk, then you should know that about yourself, and you should not be drinking the one beer before you're representing yourself in a professional manner. If you can have a few beers and that makes you feel lighter or whatever, and you're more okay with being in front of people, but you're not drunk, then I don't think that that's a problem. I think that's fine. So it's a bit of a gray area, but I'm okay with it. It's just, yeah, if you're going to be drunk to the point where you cannot perform to yourself, to like your regular stamina, then I just don't think you should be doing it at all. Or you should be tailoring it down a lot better. Someone like Chris Evans or those guys in that caliber, you got to be really careful about your public presence. And that's the thing people don't think about a lot. These guys get paid a lot of money, but they're also under contract for crazy things. They're kind of owned by Disney. And an act like that means that you need to be working. Like, he's working there. It doesn't look like it, and it's hard to remember that, but he's working. And that means he's drinking on the job. And it's got to be hard to remember that as an actor as well. But it's not cool. It's definitely not cool. And it's not cool because a lot of people see him as the figure that he's representing on screen, like you said. Now, for me, I can disassociate the actors from their characters. I don't like that happens to me all the time. And I don't like Baldwin, Alec Baldwin. I don't like him as a person really at all. But the movie The Edge is one of my favorite movies, and he's in it, and he's great. He's really good in that movie, and I love him in it. I think he does a really good job. So those two things can be true. I can not like him as a person, and I can love his acting performance. Chris Evans, I don't know much about him, but I've heard little things, and those little things I hear, I'm like, ooh, I don't like that. It hits me in like the wrong spot, and I'm like, ooh, that's not the kind of person I was hoping he would be. And yet Captain America is someone entirely different to me. So what the film is trying to portray as a character is a totally different character to me. So I don't feel it. I can disassociate the actors from the movie quite easily. Another one is Lord of the Rings. Like, none of those actors are the actors. They're characters in that movie to me. But that's something I can do. But for kids, that's got to be hard. When I was a kid, if Aragorn, came out and was drunk, at some kind of conference and was barely able to talk because of it, I'd be like, that would have ruined me. I would have been so mad. Luckily Viggo Mortensen was actually a pretty stand-up guy during the time, but that would have been awful, really bad. So,
and I think you bring up a good point. Like, it differs like at what age you're the audience member watching it, right? Because I was thinking, okay, if this was like a 19+ show, like it's all adults, like I can see, like I would probably have a lot more fun. I'd be like, oh, he's drunk, like that's awesome, right?
Exactly.
But
if it was let's say the late night version of the show, right?
Yeah. But I think because and it was also really hard to watch too, because towards the end of it, they allowed for Q&A, so it was just like anybody who was available or who had a question just like ran up to get in line to ask a question. And majority of them were like, I wouldn't say that they were like elementary school kids, but they were young people.
Right.
Like I would say average age would have been in like high school ages.
Yeah.
And some of them, I think there were like 3 or 4 in a row. So when you ask a question, you introduce yourself and where you're from. So 3 or 4 of them in a row, and actually like they all said that they had come from the Philippines. So I think they were probably like a group of friends together and like ran up to ask the questions one by one. But like they traveled all that way. They had questions to ask them, and the majority of the questions were for Chris, not as many for Dawn and Jeremy.
Right.
And Chris is the one who was like barely even able to answer any of the questions. And not just because like they were unanswerable questions, but just because he couldn't form thoughts coherently, and a lot of the time he couldn't even hear what they were saying, but everybody else could. Like the interviewer and Dawn and Jeremy on stage could hear what they were saying, so he'd be like, "Wait, like what? what was that? And then they'd have to repeat it for him. And then he would just give like pretty much like redirected answers that just didn't answer the question whatsoever. So I really felt bad for the people that were there who wanted to kind of like meet their hero, ask them these questions, get an actual answer, and like feel good about this experience.
Right.
I don't know how they felt, but from my perspective, like watching that was pretty difficult. Like every time they said, "Hi, my name is blah blah blah. I have a question for Chris." Like I would cringe a little bit, like, "Oh, not another one." Like, no, stop asking him questions. Like he can't answer them. And
like in my mind,
sad.
Again, like they're working, so I feel like they should be out in costume. They should be out in costume and like literally being like, "I'm Captain America," you know, like being out there and be like, "I'm here to answer your question," kind of thing, like, and almost like little skits kind of thing going on, like stuff for the audience to interact with and have fun with. And we don't know Chris Evans, we know Captain America, so that's who he's playing at the moment, you know. So I think that's what people want to see. People don't really necessarily want to. Well, actually, as you've seen, people don't want to see Chris Evans. They want to see Captain America. So, like, that's how I see it, is he's working. He's being paid by the hour or whatever he's doing on contract for that. He should just literally be that thing. And, Drake King's just very unprofessional. And you at that age can see that and judge that and lose respect for him. But kids at that age can't understand.
Yeah, they just might get confused.
Well, that's the thing. Actually, they might understand, but at the same time, there's a better chance of them just being confused, and they might just get angry about it. And it's very unfortunate, because we're supposed to have these role models, these heroes in our lives, and the age-old saying is never meet your heroes. And that's probably a good saying, because it's like they work well as role models, but when you meet the real-life version of them, they're not necessarily what you think. And it's kind of sad.
Yeah, that's true. I think at the same time, so you mentioned earlier that because they're on contract, and even though like filming is done, I was trying to chalk it up to that. Like, okay, all of their filming is done. Like he has relinquished this character as Captain America. Like he's done. Like he's stepping down. So now that all this pressure is off his back, then he can go back to like living his normal life. Whether that's drinking or not, but whatever. But no, like exactly, because the thing is like, because even though you have finished your filming, in the eyes of everybody else that watches you, that supports you, you are still this person who has been entrusted with this character. And I think it might be different if his character was somebody else. Like if his character was like Wolverine, for example. But his character is like Captain America. Like this,
but it shouldn't be though, right? Like
it shouldn't be, no.
It shouldn't be. But you are right. The parallels are more obvious when it's Captain America. But yeah.
Yeah. And it just but at the same time, if there's all this pressure, like you said, because they're on contract and like Disney owns them, like that itself to me sounds like very, very difficult, because you're probably under the radar much, and having to be careful for so long of your life must be extremely difficult, and it must be really liberating if you can just like have a drink and just like kind of go off, if you know what I mean. So like on that perspective, I can understand. Like, I can kind of feel for the guy. Like, he's probably been wanting to do this for a really long time, if he's been, like, under the bars, right?
You're forgetting that he has days off. Like, he's got days to be himself, to have a wife, to have kids, to have a dog, to have a house, to drink on the weekends, to dig post holes. He's got time to do this. He has a lot of time. But he also has to work. And, like, he probably does put in quite a few hours in his day, having to travel, having to go to different places, and constantly be Captain America. But that's literally what he signed the contract for. Yeah. So he has days off where he can have a beer and he can relax. Like there's no like fully always working, constantly being Captain America. That's not true. But there are moments where he does have to do that, and that's just his job. So
yeah, that's true. And I guess it also comes with the territory too. You know, like some jobs where they'll like they want to see what you're like during the job and off the job, because they want to know that your personality is going to match or whatever, right? And like I'm sure that I assume that he isn't finished with acting for the rest of his life, and so he's going to have to go to further auditions. I don't know if it even bothers him that much, but like from my perspective, I would think like that would probably look really bad, like from other casting agents who look at him and see that like, okay, well, this guy had a huge role, and he doesn't take it seriously off stage, if you know what I mean, like off camera. Right. So can we trust him to be a part of like our upcoming movie where we may need him to be a little bit more responsible? Like now we don't know. Do we give him this chance? So I mean that's just my imagination. Like who knows like what I don't know what casting agents are really like, how they think, but that's kind of like what I've grown up with, like going from work to work.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, this was probably a little bit more of like a rant than it was like
That's
a topic.
Okay. I like it. I hope that the audience gets something out of this too, because I get a little bit out of this, so it's interesting. But it's like almost like inside information, but at the same time, it's also very relatable feelings that we can all have. And it's a good lesson. These are just people at the end of the day. These actors are just people. And it's we don't know what they're going through, but at the same time, they've made a really harsh choice. I used to like glorify Hollywood, and now I've done a full 180 on that. And I think Hollywood is a very awful place for a lot of people to try to work in. And I think it does a lot of terrible things to people. So I worry about a lot of the people that I seem to like, at least actors that seem to have good intentions that are working in Hollywood, because I'm worried about what's going to happen to their regular lives. Someone like Chris Evans seems like a pretty stand-up dude based on just the movies he's in. But then when you see him in real life, you go, wow, what happened? Like, he's awful now, So hard to say. It's interesting.
To be fair, I think his original, like the roles that he played, like way like when he was younger, and he tweeted one of these one of his headshots. I think it was just like a Throwback Thursday or whatever. So he tweeted maybe one of his first headshots where he looks like just like some Californian like high school like douchebag or whatever like that. Like I think that's the way that he captioned it too.
Right. Yeah.
And it was like back to my douchebag days. And I remember him being in stuff like was it Not Another Teen Movie or
he was in How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or whatever. I think he was in. Was he not in that one? I feel like he was in that one.
No, that was Matthew McConaughey.
Oh.
Unless he was some other character in it.
I thought he was in that, but maybe not.
But I think it was Not Another Teen Movie. And that movie, like that was like, those like scary movie, like really dumb, like stupid movies, right? So that's the way I pictured him before, and seeing him more of like that kind of like dumb jock kind of character, which I guess is what he was going for before. Then slowly moved into like he became Human Torch. And then he did this.
I first saw him in Scott Pilgrim, actually. He was one of the boyfriends in that.
Was he?
Yeah, he was the skateboarder ex-boyfriend, I believe.
Are you sure?
Scott.
Because I know Brandon Routh was in that, and they have similar
he was
builds.
Superman. The Superman dude, yeah. Chris Evans was the skateboarder boyfriend. He was like boyfriend number 2 or whatever, and he was the evil skateboarder boyfriend.
There's this other movie that I saw Chris Evans in. Oh, actually, I haven't seen the whole movie yet, but I want to.
Snowpiercer?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's one. Yeah. I like Snowpiercer. That was a cool movie. I recommend it.
I haven't seen it. Okay.
Watch that one. There's one where he plays like he's like a dad.
No.
Which one is it? I really want to know. Is it Before We Go? I don't know. He plays nope. I think he's just like taking care of this young girl who Gifted. That's what it is. It's Gifted. Oh, this is the girl from the Haunting of Hill House. And here I'm gonna link you.
I think my girlfriend watched this one.
Okay, so I think he plays like a single dad, and he's raising this this girl who is like, she's gifted, she's super smart, and I think he's just not sure how to handle it. So it's more of like a serious role, I think. I want to see more stuff like that with him, because I think like it seemed like it actually like suited him.
I think that's where the future for Chris Evans holds. I think he's going to be doing more drama, emotional stuff as an actor.
Yeah, definitely possible.
Finding other things, trying to branch out and not be Captain America is probably what he's going to do next. If I had to predict anything, I think he's probably going to make a couple crappy movies. And either he will find something that works really well and be amazing after that, or he's going to just fade away.
Oh, he's in that new movie coming up, Knives Out.
I don't know that movie.
Chris Evans, Daniel Craig, Michael Shannon, Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, listen to that cast. Christopher Plummer.
Oh, I think I watched the trailer to
Don
this.
Johnson, Frank Oz. Like, that sounds amazing.
This looked weirdly good. Yeah. I was really interested in this.
Yeah. I kind of want to see it. Just for the cast alone.
Yeah. That sounds pretty good.
So, anyway, cool. That's my rant.
Cool.
For the
I liked
day.
Your rant. It worked as a good topic. Nice topic there, Anth0z.
Thanks.
And Anth0z, on that note, we've come to a little thing I like to call the end of the show.
Wow, that was quick.
It seems quick. It does seem quick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anth0z, I'd like to say, where can the audience find you?
If you must find me, you can find me on Twitter at ANTH0Z1. Oh, I did that kind of backwards.
Oh,
You can find me on Twitter at Anth0z1.
yeah.
Oh, but I did it the first time. I shouldn't do it again. That's kind of weird.
And if you want to find me, you can find me at Cass. No, you can find me at Mattbrush Gaming on Twitter. And if
You can find him at Anth0z1.
Yeah. And if you'd like to talk to the two of us on email, you can email us at the Scumm Bar Podcast at gmail.com. If you'd like to find us on any of your podcast platforms, you can just type in the Scumm Bar Podcast to any of those platforms, and I'm sure you'll find us on there with our full 29 episodes as of this episode. If you want to see this podcast in YouTube format, you can go to YouTube and type in Mattbrush Gaming and find all of our podcast episodes there as well. Anth0z. Actually, you know what? Before I say that, please leave us a like or a comment or a star or a badge or a sticker. Just anything that lets us know that you're out there, and if you like the content you see, and if you have any kind of comments for us or anything like that, please let us know, because we would appreciate the suggestions. Anth0z,
The stuff.
what is the very thing that we say every single time we close out an episode? What is it?
Morning's here, the morning's here. Da 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 da. Hey, get into gear, because that's my friend's reference. Because I couldn't think of anyone before that.
Right. It's morning's here, guy.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like
Sunshine
morning.
is here.
Hey, get into gear.
The moon is gone and the morning is here.